How detached did we become from our natural evolution?
All mammals eat the placenta.
Most people have drunk urine, they just can't remember it.
As we set out on life's great journey, we encounter a host of nature's ailments. From cancer to depression.
I will only self-harm if there's water involved.
We know about women who have certain genes that they're more likely to develop breast cancer.
But as scientists spend millions scouring for cures, could it be that we've been looking in the wrong place?
Orthodox medicine seems to not be whole person orientated enough.
There is a lack of scientific backup, but then people aren't going to fund trials that don't benefit huge numbers of people.
Taking clues from the animal world, many think they found the answer within.
I usually have a glass of urine every morning.
I offer about 5 different placenta services.
I'm planning to consume my placenta as a smoothie and in pill form.
In this program we ask, is human produce natural?
You wouldn't eat your excrement. Why would you choose to drink your urine?
Is it legal?
This is the placenta here. We together consumed our first daughter's placenta.
And is it ethical?
I haven't got a clue what placenta tastes like.
My husband and I made it into a pate and, it was fine.
She cut it up and ate it raw bit by bit.
I'm coming up to 9 months pregnant. I've got being pregnant, I've got 4 days left before I'm due. I'm giving birth Sunday and it will be on a labour ward.
30-year-old Charlie Porter is only a few days away from the birth of her first child. With labour so close, the nerves have started to kick in.
Am I nervous about giving birth? I'm terrified. But I've not thought about it at the end of the day. I'm like, it's going to hurt. I'm pushing something very large out of something very small.
With first-time pregnancy, often there are complications during and after labour. With the body undergoing so much stress and change, nothing is certain.
I've not done any research. I've not Googled anybody giving birth and the programmes that you can watch. I've not done any of that because I'll end up terrifying myself to just pure panic. I was like, my body knows what to do, the baby knows what to do, and if I just let it happen, it's probably going to happen a lot more naturally than if I stress and worry about it and get panicked about it.
While there is usually no reason why a woman shouldn't have a healthy pregnancy and a normal baby, some health conditions do need careful management to minimise risks to mother and baby. On a global scale, 1 in 4 pregnancies have major complications. 15% of all mothers will suffer a miscarriage, and an astonishing 1 in 200 pregnancies will end in stillbirth. Half of these are medically unexplained. But for Charlie, recognising these risks and being aware of them has motivated her to change her lifestyle.
You're suddenly more aware of that you're quite happy to contaminate your own body with alcohol, cigarettes, junk food, anything like that. But for me especially, now I've got something else that's depending on me, I'm suddenly more aware of what I do put into my body. I know what I should be eating and I know what I shouldn't be eating. Not to say that I don't do any of that. I'm meant to eat a lot of broccoli, and that broccoli is meant to be very, very good. It's, of all the things in the categories of all the books that you read, broccoli appears the most frequent. So I have bought more broccoli. I haven't consumed it as much as I probably should have done.
Charlie may not want to eat more broccoli, but her pregnancy has brought on a very different kind of craving. One that may shock and horrify most people. Whether in pregnancy or general life, there are many risks. But scientists claim they are closer to curing some of life's problems, like cancer and diabetes. Despite this, research shows that more and more people are turning away from orthodox medicine and seeking alternative solutions to medical problems. Over 70% of people now incorporate some kind of alternative therapy into their lifestyle. Someone who knows all about the roller coaster effects of mainstream medicine is Sharon Holdstock, author, mother, and self-proclaimed alternative nutritionist.
I was a veggie at 16, and then a vegan at 18, and then at about 29, started looking for something else because I was feeling really depressed and I wasn't feeling healthy, and I've never felt healthy all my life.
For Sharon, mainstream health and nutrition wasn't making her feel good. Her only choice was to seek alternative ways to stop the symptoms that were controlling her life.
I was depressed, and my hands, I would wake up at night and my hands would be so dry that they'd be like this, like old ladies' hands, and I'd have to put hand cream on in the middle of the night. I was super sensitive to noise. Skin was suffering. I was getting overweight. My friend said I had cider thighs, and I felt like my life was over, and I didn't want to feel like that.
A raw food diet consisting of no meat, no dairy and no cooking was the initial answer to Sharon's medical problems.
So this is actually something that I've planted, and you can see that the things called flea beetles have been enjoying it too, but actually it doesn't cause any real harm. It just doesn't look as nice as you'd get in the supermarket, but it's really strong. They're really, really delicious.
Committing to an alternative lifestyle like raw food takes real commitment. Sharon has chosen to grow almost all her required food herself. This isn't a diet for just anyone. It takes time and dedication.
So I'm going to make some juice with this. That'll make like that's about a kilo, half a kilo of greens there. Just pick them, juice them, and it's like another perfect food that's free. You know, it doesn't cost a lot to be a raw foodist, unless you want it to.
Sharon is not alone in seeking these alternative lifestyles. There are others who are moving outside the boundaries of so-called normal living to experiment with new and often shocking ideas.
Myself, I'm always a really open-minded person, and I'm always the kind of person who likes pushing boundaries and testing and doing things that no one else does.
Kate Magic makes it her mission to test and experiment with new ways of improving her health and well-being.
We live in such a toxic society that you really need to assist your body in removing toxins, so things like colonics, enemas, urine therapy, castor oil, and it's a lot of this stuff. When you start talking about it, it sounds all a bit hocus pocus, and you know, there's not a lot of scientific evidence around this stuff, but it works. That's the point. When you try it, it really does. It's really powerful stuff. So this is my superfood cupboard. Here you've got the mushroom of spiritual immortality, which is quite a grand claim, but it's a really powerful thing for just strengthening the body and centering and rebalancing you and just improving all body function, really.
Amongst the many alternative therapies that Kate experiments with, one stands out as being the most unusual: urine therapy. But according to Kate, this controversial practice has also been the most life-changing.
I think one of the reasons why urine therapy is amazing is because it is so versatile and you can use it in so many ways. So you can just use it as a kind of self-regulating practice if you just want to help boost your immune system and keep healthy. But then it's also good for people that are really seriously ill, and then you can also use it externally. I don't think there's many things that you can't use it for, to be honest. You know, like you can use it on bites and stings. If you get a wasp sting or wasp bite, if you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere and you've got no creams or something, then it's a way to deal with that.
People like Kate and Sharon are moving outside the boundaries of conventional lifestyle. But why do they feel the need to seek different ideas for maintaining good health when there have been so many developments in mainstream medicine? Brian Kaplan thinks he knows why people are turning to alternative therapies.
Orthodox medicine seems to not be whole person orientated enough. You know, you get someone who is just getting frequent colds, like 4 colds every winter, and they last 2-3 weeks each. So she thinks, yeah, all right, the GP gave me medicines or gave me an antibiotic or something, but why do I keep getting the 4 colds? See, that sort of question, ordinary medicine is not going to necessarily help.
So going to your doctor for the solution to symptoms of illness may not always be the best answer. But why is this?
We certainly don't like to look at people as having a label. So 100 people with asthma may have 100 different underlying causes. The actual treatment of the symptom may be the same for everyone, but getting to the underlying cause in an attempt to cure is a completely different matter. So by not going deeper into the diagnosis, we don't ever generally get to an answer.
We have been raised on the belief that orthodox medicine is the best option. But could it be that often the modern medicine we are prescribed is simply treating our symptoms and not curing the illness itself? While your doctor busily prescribes you medicine for your stomach pain and headache, alternative treatments that target your illness could be far more effective. Could this be why so many people are now turning to obscure, often unproven, and sometimes dangerous therapies? Charlie Porter is only days away from giving birth to her first child. Having been one of millions prescribed with medication for her depression, she knows too well the limitations of orthodox medicine.
I was first diagnosed with depression when I was about 16, 17, and the doctors put me on Prozac. I was on Prozac for probably about a year and I didn't like what it did to me. It's very much, hindsight was very much now, it never fixed the problem, it just masked it. I was very zombified with it and it kind of, I just didn't function well on it.
Charlie's battle with depression has been raging for many years. Having suffered her latest episode only months before her pregnancy, the odds are stacked against her that postnatal illness, a sometimes severe and even life-threatening condition, will reignite this dark and dangerous past.
Because I've suffered with depression in the past, they say you're more susceptible to it. And I think because I'm suffering from it so recently, I'm really susceptible to it. But I know that I don't want to go through it.
Postnatal illness can affect any mother immediately after childbirth, with symptoms ranging from negative thoughts and guilt to psychotic episodes. There are even cases that have led to suicide. Between 10 and 15 of every 100 mothers will suffer this condition, with a significant increase if they have previously suffered from depression.
The research on postnatal depression shows that women who have a family history of mental illness or depression, or women who have experienced depression in the past, or women who don't have much social support are more likely to experience postpartum depression.
With a high chance of postnatal depression striking any mother, the need to combat this indiscriminate illness is more important than ever. But there could be light at the end of the tunnel. Amongst the many therapies that claim to have the solution, one stands out. Tara Bungard, a self-employed maternal specialist, thinks that she has the answer.
A lot of what I do is misunderstood by people. A lot of people don't understand why you would want a birth doula. Why do you want somebody there? You know, you've got a birth partner, you've got midwives, doctors, why do you want somebody else? So it's kind of, I'm used to being misunderstood.
Tara Bungard has been running a range of services for mothers who want support in the time leading to birth, as well as post-pregnancy. But one element of her service has had mixed reactions from both pregnant women, the public and health professionals.
I teach baby massage, I work as a breastfeeding counsellor, and I do placenta encapsulation.
Hidden from the public eye and curious neighbours, Tara prepares her latest remedy. Made from an organ vital for the growth of any child. An organ that gave life to every human on the planet. The placenta.
This is the placenta here. This is how it's stored after the birth. Once the midwife has checked it over, we put it into a glass container.
Tara's service takes the newly birthed placenta soon after labour, and whilst almost all hospitals would dispose of this organ with medical precision, Tara believes it has another use.
I think that a lot of people, until they become pregnant and until they're actually on that journey, for a start don't give a second thought to what they're going to do with their placenta. It probably doesn't even cross people's mind, you know, I have a baby and I also have a placenta, what do I do with that? Because it is so commonplace for it to be treated as waste and just parcelled up and stuck in an incinerator. With education along the way, with antenatal classes, with discovering what's going on with your body and your baby and how labour and birth is going to occur and affect you, I think people do then become a little bit more aware of the fact that they have this placenta and they have options.
By options, Tara means giving women the power to decide what happens to this mysterious organ, that could be the answer to giving women a healthy and truly natural birth experience. The placenta has many functions that are vital to the growth of any baby. Acting like a trading post, the placenta exchanges oxygen, nutrients, and waste products between mother and baby. Despite its importance and complexity, the placenta is the only disposable organ developed by the human body. People like Tara believe that not using the placenta is denying the mother of their best option for getting through the stress of pregnancy and labour. And for postnatal depression, the placenta is nature's solution to combating this widespread problem. Leading therapist David Behan explains exactly why this condition is getting so out of hand.
Postnatal depression, in relation to the people that come see me after they've given birth to a child, anywhere from 3 weeks upwards, can stem from how a person gives meaning to their environment, the model of the world and people in it, how they perceive and project onto it. They feel pretty despondent in relation to the child. They feel despondent in relation to themselves. They're not so sure whether they love the child or like the child in relation to what they felt before the birth of the child. So they're dealing with a lot of psychological forces which causes them to be indifferent with themselves and towards the child. A lot of them are afraid to talk about this problem because of the fear of having the child taken away from them.
So for Charlie, who feels she is almost certain to suffer this condition, the controversial service that people like Tara are providing could be the answer.
I'm planning to consume my placenta as a smoothie and in pill form to help with postnatal depression, milk production, and hopefully it'll, if not combat postnatal depression, it'll help because I'm apparently quite susceptible to depression.
Although Charlie has made a choice to follow the alternative route, there is still no certainty that this will work.
There is a lack of scientific backup, but then people aren't going to fund trials that don't benefit huge numbers of people. So I think that's the main reason why there aren't trials being done on this. If you look at anecdotal evidence, if you talk to mothers who've had it done, the evidence is overwhelmingly in favour. I mean, the first placentas I encapsulated were for a lady who had twins, and this lady had a placenta smoothie on the ward within 2 or 3 hours of having her babies by caesarean, and by the next day her milk was in, and the midwives were astonished. They couldn't believe it.
Whether the scientific backup is there or not, Charlie is comfortable that this is the right choice.
I think this will help, and I feel it will help, so therefore I think it is going to help.
Placenta eating, most people just find the idea repugnant. And I get it from different views. The idea of eating a part of yourself is bizarre. People have strange ideas about their bodies and people's bodies and what their function is. I mean, breasts were designed to feed babies. Their design is to make milk to feed babies. And yet people in this culture have made them into something completely different.
Perhaps Melody is right, and there is an increasingly detached view of our bodies in modern society. Almost all mammals, apart from humans, eat the placenta. But when did this truly natural process become taboo for humans? Has our society developed a warped view of many of the body's natural functions? A unique ice cream vendor in London is using a very different byproduct of pregnant women to satisfy their customers: human breast milk. The initial thought may be off-putting, but has caused mixed reactions among press and public.
Breasts aren't meant to be for babies, are they, in this culture? So their products are a bit strange.
Health is caused through healthful living, and every unhealthy practice will cumulatively contribute to our degenerating ill health.
The general view of things like breast milk ice cream and placenta consumption is that it is repulsive. But the advocates of these ideas believe that this is just a result of us becoming more detached from our natural roots.
People are scared of their own bodies and scared of their own power because we're operating, I believe, from such a state of disconnection. And so people have this inherent fear of actually getting to know themselves and being themselves and being true to themselves.
Kate may be among the few who are testing the boundaries of what is considered acceptable, but the truth is, these experimental practices are going on all around us. The body has many functions, and alternative therapists feel we limit ourselves from using it to its full potential. Many believe that urine has almost limitless scope for curing a variety of ailments.
Urine therapy is a therapy whereby you use your own urine to take internally or to use externally on your body. And it's nothing new. And there are many millions of people using urine therapy. They don't often come out and talk about it for obvious reasons, but they're there and they're doing it, and they're happy and they're healthy.
To most of us, urine is nothing short of a waste product. We are taught from a young age to dispose of it as hazardous material. For Kate, using her own urine for health benefits has become as normal as drinking tea.
When I started in urine therapy, I would just put a little bit in a glass, so I would just have a little bit and then fill it up with water. And then as I got to doing it more and more, I would get to like half urine, half water. That's one of the beauties of it, is that you can just start on that level, and even if you're just doing a tablespoon a day, that's going to really help your body self-regulate. It's good. It's a bit salty. It's not very sweet today, but it just tastes like a kind of herbal tonic drink, I would say. You know, like those fizzy drinks like Purdy's, you know, like those kind of, just like, that's what it tastes like, obviously not fizzy, but like a healthy soft drink. It's got a kind of sweet taste, and it's not bitter, and it's not smelly, and it's not yellow, it's pale, and it's just kind of nice.
I usually have a glass of urine every morning. I suppose it's what the Indian Prime Minister Desai did, and Gandhi did, and Sir Edmund Hillary did, and all of these people all lived fabulous long lives.
Dr. Langley and Kate are claiming we should drink our own urine. But if urine is such a powerful medicine, why aren't more people using it? Dr. Doug Graham believes that the ideas behind urine therapy are absurd.
I think the phrase urine therapy is an oxymoron. The two words do not go together. There is no therapy in urine. Urine is a bodily waste product. It's what is purified from the blood and eliminated from the blood in order to have clean blood running through our system. To reintroduce the toxins that were removed from the blood back into the blood makes absolutely no sense at all.
A person's urine can often contain a mixture of substances, many of which could be harmless, but some of which could be life-threatening. Either way, the people who are using urine therapy could be putting their own lives at risk.
We look at urine under a microscope, we look at it in the lab, we discard it like it is hazardous waste. And to consume that, just, to me, I wouldn't go near it with a 10-foot pole.
We're excreting it not because it's a waste product. We're 70% water, and it's about keeping a water balance. I mean, just think about high blood pressure here. You know, it's all about pH balance in the body, certain minerals which are needed or not needed in the body. Everything that's about whether it's needed or not will be excreted at that point in time. So it's very much about water balance rather than a waste product.
The things that are in your urine are there specifically because your body could not use them. To reintroduce them is the exact opposite of any sense whatsoever.
Doug Graham may doubt the validity of urine therapy, but leading health professionals have claimed that the practice could even be successful in treating many diseases, even as severe as cancer.
Urine therapy in cancer has got a sound body of evidence behind it. It is probably safe to take, and the evidence of efficacy is not scientifically validated, generally due to a small number of studies rather than large studies being performed.
You're not only putting an additional load on the kidneys, you're affecting blood chemistry in a way that at best is hazardous for your health and at worst is deadly.
There may be much dispute as to the validity of urine as a therapy for good health, but for Sharon, the recovery from depression and physical symptoms was largely helped by her discovery of urine therapy.
GPs, doctors and the like might or might not know about urine therapy, but what they do know is that they are encouraged to prescribe certain drugs because those drugs will produce more money. And no one can make money from urine. No one can make money from picking your own herbs and keeping well that way. No one can make money from oxygen, which is why oxygen therapy is also dismissed by a large part of the medical community. So there's no reason for anybody in a profession that promotes drugs to promote urine therapy. It's contrary to the way they make money.
Sharon may be convinced, and even medical professionals support the practice, but most are still skeptical about urine therapy. For many, after a lifetime believing that urine is a hazardous excrement, there is a long way to go before their minds can be changed.
Why would one put back into the body stuff that the body is excreting or expelling? You know, you wouldn't lick your sweat, or you wouldn't drink your blood. Why would you wouldn't eat your excrement? Why would you choose to drink your urine? It doesn't feel natural. So in other words, in order to drink it, someone would have had to have explained a theory to you or promised you something, and then you would try to do that.
There is clearly a huge debate going on about urine therapy. With intelligent arguments and scientific backup on both sides, a conclusive judgment is yet to be made. But for the people who advocate these practices, nothing will shake their belief in the ideas. It's the day before Charlie Porter's due date, and despite the fact that labour could happen at any moment, she seems less focused on childbirth and more on her placenta.
The placenta's only going to be delivered once, so I can always go on medication later if it doesn't work, but I'm not going to be able to suddenly go and get my placenta from the shop and consume it then, so it'll help me knowing that I've done what I can.
Charlie knows that she has done everything she can to prevent postnatal depression affecting her. But even with this preemptive strategy, there is a constant fear that it will strike regardless.
You hear of people that get into these situations that don't have any history of depression, and they get postnatal depression really badly and they suffer from it, and I am worried about that could happen to me.
Charlie, like many mothers, is putting her faith in one woman, Linnea Arnold, a pioneering expert bringing placenta services to women around the globe.
Coming into the hospital now to pick up a fresh placenta that was birthed last night, and I'll be popping into Mum's room and making up a placenta smoothie.
I would say that most of our clients tend to be second, third, fourth time mothers, and that is because they know how bad it can get after the birth of a baby, how much you do struggle, and they want to prevent that at all costs. A lot of our clients also have suffered from postnatal depression before and do want other children, but just don't want to have to go through the stress and the strain that the post-birth phase dealt them last time.
Linnea offers a variety of placenta services. One of the most controversial takes raw chunks of a meaty part of the placenta and blends it into a smoothie.
I offer about 5 different placenta services. Starting from birth, I would offer the placenta smoothie, which is usually consumed within the first 12 hours after birth, and that is made with about a palm-sized piece of raw placenta. We usually take it from the richest, reddest, because I believe that's the most nutritious way to benefit from the placenta. It's before the cooking phase and before bacterial degeneration of the placenta, so it's fresh and ripe and ready to eat.
Both Linnea's experience and her expertise in placenta remedies means that she is the perfect candidate to assist Charlie with her placenta remedies.
We've encapsulated over 250 placentas in the UK in the last 2 years, and we've not had one mother suffer from postnatal depression after birth. So I think those statistics speak for themselves. If we're preventing the initial onset of the baby blues, which can then lead to postnatal depression, we're hopefully preventing postnatal depression in itself.
With so many successful clients, it's not surprising that placenta remedies are now spreading around the world. Part of this could be because of one clever technique that claims to remove the blood and gore of placenta remedies.
There is no ick factor. It's not as though I'm sitting you down with a plate of, you know, placenta and onions or whatever. It's you get a nice little sanitary jar with capsules in, and they're about the size and shape of a Nurofen capsule. So yeah, there is no ick factor. It's just like taking a pill.
We use a method based on the traditional Chinese medicine techniques that have been practiced in their culture for centuries. We start off by steaming the placenta in a steamer pot. We steam with lemon, ginger, and chili.
Well, you do smell the ginger and the lemon and everything coming through. Once you've smelt it, you recognise it anywhere, but it's quite nice. It's quite sweet because of the lemon and the ginger and everything. So.
And then after steaming, we slice the placenta very thin, place the slices onto a food dehydrator for about 8 hours until the slices are completely dried and crumbled.
Now that it's been sliced, it's all ready just to go into the dehydrator, so it literally just comes over here and I start arranging the pieces.
Once the placenta has been steamed, sliced and dried, the next stage of the process begins.
This is the placenta after it's been on the dehydrator for 8 hours. It's really quite dry and brittle now, so if I snap, all crisps down, which means it's going to grind down really nicely in the grinder here to a nice fine powder.
Placenta encapsulation removes the bloody nature of eating the organ in its natural form, but purists like Tara and Linnea prefer other methods of consuming the afterbirth.
When I had my first baby, which was before I knew about placenta encapsulation, I knew that I would consume my placenta in some form, and we did. My husband and I made it into a pâté, and you know, it was fine, because my instinct told me that it was something that made sense to do.
Tara may feel comfortable with the meaty nature of eating the placenta, but Angela Shears feels that encapsulation is a far better option for mothers who might struggle with the gore of consuming human flesh.
I think when people hear about using the placenta, they're picturing people frying up placentas in their kitchen and having them for dinner. And I don't think they realise there's different ways to actually use it. So capsules, smoothies, and it's much more palatable than what they think. Everything's done in such a way, you know, it's clean, it's sterile, you know, there's nothing icky about it.
People who claim that they've had this wonderful experience eating their placenta, we don't know. We don't know. This could be a very beneficial thing to do. I mean, we are one of the few mammals on Earth who don't eat our placentas. And yes, there is evidence that most mammals eat it to safeguard their young, to not leave any evidence that they've had a birth and a newborn. But there are mammals who have been domesticated and who have no natural enemies, no natural predators who eat their placentas.
I think we need to just get our heads round that all mammals eat the placenta. Some mammals just absorb it. There's a reason it's there. It's got nutrients, and I feel it was beneficial for me and my baby.
So if all mammals except humans eat the placenta, perhaps we are denying our most valuable assets and natural resources, our own bodies. It's a new day, and Sharon is beginning her daily routine of urine therapy.
This is my wee. Urine does look different colours. It depends what you eat. If you eat asparagus, it's going to be almost green, or maybe even green. I imagine this will taste like kefir because that's what I've been drinking a lot of. So I'll give it a go, okay? Oh, it's really nice. It's got quite a lot of flavour in there. Like I said, that's actually quite dark for my wee. Taste of strawberries. I can taste strawberry because I just went out and ate some strawberries and that's gone through already. It also has like a... It's interesting, it kind of hits these taste buds at the back. It's fragrant, it's flowery, you know, it's like elderflower. Elderflower, strawberries.
Drinking urine might seem unusual enough, But there are even stranger applications for this bodily fluid.
I always would use urine on my eyes, particularly if they became crusty, if they were red, if they were inflamed, if I'd spent too long on the computer or something like that. Nothing benefits the eyes better than urine. If I had a sore throat, I might gargle with urine. You can tell if it's off in terms of being too acidic, and you know then your own biochemistry is out of whack.
Very often we see ideas passed around that just have not yet, we haven't advanced to the point where we understand that drinking our own bodily waste is in fact a waste. It's actually harmful. The potential of creating a septicemia where your blood becomes septic is so high when you drink your own urine that you're running all kinds of risks of instantaneous death.
Despite Dr. Graham's warnings of the life-threatening danger of drinking urine, Sharon seems blissfully comfortable about the therapy.
There's nothing dangerous about it, and there's nothing that's dirty about it. You know when people say go to the toilet and wash your hands? No, not if you've done a wee. If you've done a poo, yes. If you've done a pee, no, don't. In fact, you could just rub your hands with your wee because that's actually really, really healthy for you.
The thought of drinking our own urine may be off-putting, but the repulsion that many people feel can be explained by another of our body's processes.
There is an inbuilt instinct about taking in something we excrete. If it's not too lucid a picture, you and I are busily producing saliva, and you and I are busily swallowing probably around half a litre of saliva a day. If I asked you to spit out just 10 mils of saliva, put it in a cup and ask you to drink it in 3-4 minutes' time, you would automatically, you're feeling a slight revulsion. So even though it's something that we're doing all the time, and we're conscious of it, I'm salivating now, swallow it, no problems at all. Once it's left the body, something up here just shifts slightly, doesn't it? So once again, passing urine into a glass and drinking it at whatever temperature just doesn't appeal. And there may be some element of evolutionary survival process, because at the end of the day, urine is an excretion process. It may carry toxins, and it's probably not that beneficial to drink your own excreta or eat your own excreta.
The repulsion in drinking fluids or eating parts of our own body seems to be built into our way of thinking. But is this simply our body's way of warning us of the potential dangers? Charlie's big day has arrived. Her contractions have been getting stronger since the early hours of the morning. Linnea is on hand to monitor Charlie's condition.
Charlie sent me a text yesterday and said that her waters had broken. I got really excited and hoped that she would go into labor last night, but she didn't. And then this morning I sent her a text around 10 and asked her how she's doing, and she said she's been up since 2 in the morning with contractions every half an hour. We're going to head off to hospital soon because they've sped up. They're every 6 minutes now for the last 2 hours. Yeah, and looks like she's in a little bit of a pain now, which is a good sign for labor.
With the contractions becoming almost too much to bear, Charlie is now being rushed to hospital to deliver her first child.
We're in labour.
The real journey now begins for Charlie. It could be hours or even days before she leaves the labour room. Between the painful contractions and what lies ahead, Charlie can only hope that all her preparations will save her from her greatest fear, her tragic and dark past.
When my mum died, I just kind of, I don't know, I didn't grieve properly. I didn't sort myself out. I'd put too much on, and we'd spent 18 months thinking that every time we said goodbye to my mum it would be the last time, because the doctors didn't think she was going to live past 6 months, and there was always something else new, and all of that just took its toll, and I think eventually my body was just had enough, and then it wasn't until about 18 months ago that I'd gone back to self-harming quite regularly.
Charlie's self-harming was uncontrollable and fueled by a deep grief and sadness.
Self-harming for me was never about pleasure and pain and attention. It was a release. I will only self-harm if there's water involved, and I think when I nicked my leg shaving in a bad mood, the image of sort of the water and the blood washing away was very sort of, it's gone, calm, I feel better, better mood. So any time that I've self-harmed has always been in water, whether it be in the shower or the sink or anything, and there's something about the blood washing away for me that is right, that issue, that stress, that worry, that whatever that issue is just being washed away.
The implications of Charlie's depressive episodes could have dangerous consequences should postnatal depression set in. But by taking a conscious step towards fighting this negative spiral, Charlie feels that half the battle could already have been won.
If I think it's going to help me, you know, it could be a sugar pill. But if my head's saying it's going to help, it's probably going to benefit somewhere along the line. I think a lot of it is mind over matter. And that's what I'm telling myself for the labour process anyway.
Whether placebo or scientific fact, within Charlie's placenta lies hope or the terror that postnatal depression will strike. Far away from the cries of labour, Sharon is once again demonstrating another use for her own urine, this time to heal an injury to her hand.
Try and get that as soaking as possible without it dripping, and then put it over the sore bit. So I've got a sore knuckle here, but I've also got a sore knuckle here, so I'll put it on that one. And then, if you can, get your hand in there, you might have to replace them in the right place. If people don't wake up, it's up to them. It doesn't actually make any difference. I'm not bothered if people think this is funny or ridiculous. All I know is I feel the best I've ever felt. I feel the healthiest I've ever felt. That's the only way to know. It's the only telltale sign as to whether this is right for them or not. But it's right for me, for sure. Obviously I dry it, go to bed with that, and it has a chance to properly work over the course of the night. And it's, yes, really helped. It's helped heal it a lot better than it was doing.
The benefits of urine therapy are profound, and I think we just will be learning more and more as we go. I think in science we'll look at it, and we already know these things. But the key, though, in urine therapy is to be consistent. It's not something that is going to really make a difference if you just do it every now and again. The glass in the morning should be done from now until you're 120.
The applications of urine therapy may seem strange, but with millions of men and women undergoing cosmetic manipulation and sometimes dangerous surgery, how can anyone really say what's right or wrong? For Charlie, the time to discover whether placenta remedies are right for her is only moments away. After almost 20 hours in labour, she has finally birthed a healthy child and a healthy placenta.
See? We drained that cord nicely, and there's some of your hair in there too. We drained that cord. Look, it's all drained. All that is going to be iron rich.
So I'll probably have a lot of capsules for the size of my placenta.
It's huge. It's huge. It's so thick.
So how much do you put in?
You can tell me when to stop if you want.
You've been doing this a hell of a lot longer than I have. This is my first
placenta. I don't know how much you can take. I don't usually make it in front of the mom. The mom usually doesn't watch. She just goes, oh, what is that? Strawberries. No, I usually put about a palm-sized piece in. But this is such a lovely placenta.
I'm just thinking there's going to be fruit in it. It's all going to be fruit.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I'm happy with that amount.
Cool.
Linnea adds fruit and berries to the placenta before processing it into a smooth liquid. The nutrients and vitamins in the fruit complement the afterbirth as well as helping with taste. Taking the placenta in this form is the freshest and most natural option.
There you go.
Is there a particular speed I have to drink it at, or just...
in the next sort of couple of hours, it starts to separate. The water will separate from the fruit and it'll go in layers.
Probably drink it quite quickly, to be honest.
What does it taste like?
Nanas?
Yeah.
I feel I should be grossed out, but I'm actually not.
Yeah.
But then again, I suppose labour really just gives you a perspective.
It's difficult to think that Charlie is drinking a smoothie made mostly from a part of her own body. But it's a choice that perhaps only a new mother can truly relate to. With one part of the journey finished, another begins. Linnea has returned home with Charlie's fresh placenta. Now she will begin to process the afterbirth into its final remedy.
This is Charlie's placenta. It's a bit bloody. It's a nice healthy cord, good size. This is literally from baby to placenta. So the cord attaches to what we call the fetal side of the placenta, and this side it would be where baby's laying. So baby would be laying next to this this side of the placenta, and this side would, if you can imagine, baby's sort of there, and that would be attached to baby. Okay, and this side here, the maternal side, we flip it over. This side here is where what was attached to the uterine wall. So baby wouldn't have been next to this side. Right. So that's the amniotic sac, and that's where baby was inside here for 9 months, which is really cool to think that that's where the baby was cooking. And the baby was 8 pound 5, so this is the placenta, the kind of placenta that I would expect to see. It suits the baby.
Linnea has a great passion for what she is doing and truly feels that she is helping women on a level that many others cannot. But critics have accused women like Linnea and Tara, who perform placenta remedies, of cannibalism.
People that suggested that consuming the placenta after birth was cannibalistic, well, that's completely ridiculous, because being a cannibal certainly means that you have to kill something in order, you would kill a human and then eat it. And there's absolutely no act of killing or death involved in consuming the placenta after birth. As a matter of fact, it's the only piece of meat that you can eat without killing something first in the world. So thinking that eating the placenta after birth is cannibalistic is completely ridiculous.
Nobody has died in order for you to consume the placenta. In fact, it's a life-giving organ. It's kept that baby alive for 9 months. It's supplied it with nutrients. It's, you know, fed it, breathed for it fundamentally. And now it's done its job. And if you don't do anything with it, it's just going to get put in a clinical waste bag and put in an incinerator. So it's, yes, it's come from a human body, but I don't really view it as cannibalism. It's waste matter, if you look at it like in its simplest term, I suppose. It's excretion, it's however you want to put it. It's not something that is still serving a purpose and has had to be stopped in that process in order for you to eat it. So I don't really view it as cannibalism.
Right, so I'm just going to check to see how much longer we have left. Okay? Okay. Right. So we can tell here that there's quite a bit of blood left around the edges. It is almost ready. About 10 minutes, I think. 5-10 minutes. The clot's cooked really nicely. It's solid. That's really good. But we want to be able to pierce it with a fork and only white juice comes out. And that's not quite done yet, so we'll give it another 10 minutes and see how we go.
With the placenta cooked, it's now ready to be sliced and dried for 8 hours on a dehydrator. By removing all the moisture from the placenta, Linnea is ensuring that there can be no bacterial development.
That's it. It fills my house with the most beautiful smell.
The dried pieces are ground into a fine powder before being compacted into pill cases. An average placenta will make almost 100 pills for a new mother.
Here we go. We've turned her placenta into some lovely capsules, so she can start taking these tomorrow. And the perfect after-birth remedy, made perfect for her. There's nothing more powerful than this, what I'm holding in my hands.
Alternative therapies seem to have a widespread and dedicated following, in many cases even despite having a lack of medical evidence. What rings true is that people practicing these methods are happy and healthy, whether the therapies are effective or not.
I'm about to take one of my placenta pills. I normally take them sort of around meal times, not necessarily with meals, but around meal times, so sort of breakfast, lunch and dinner.
It's weeks later, and Charlie has been taking her placenta pills regularly.
It's scary to think that's my placenta in some form in there, but...
Whether due to beginning this new stage in her life, or because of the so-called powerful effects of her placenta remedies, all signs of Charlie's dark and depressive episodes seem nowhere in sight.
I would say that it's been a success having the placenta. I'm a lot happier and healthier than I thought I would be, and I think as a result she's happier and healthier, and I don't think she's going to object to the fact that I've eaten her placenta. She might be grossed out, but not object.